Hello, my friends. We're back. That's right. Hambbage here, and you guys, of course. And I'm so delighted that you decided to stop by. Whether it's your first time or your 100th, we're going to hope to have a good time here playing a little bit of hardcore vanilla Minecraft. For anybody coming from the previous video, it is multiple hours later. I don't remember exactly what time I wrapped that one up, but. Feeling a lot better. I took some antihistamine stuff, whatever, uh, anti-allergy medicine, or whatever all that stuff is. Had just kind of chilled on the couch here for a while. I watched a little bit of a stream as that was wrapping up, and then I uh, watched some Netflix stuff, and it took a while. I was definitely not feeling tip top this morning. So hopefully this is going to be a bit of a better deal. Um, and I guess we should recap a little bit. So in the last video, we extended our staircase down this far. We are continuing into the lower levels here, but with the understanding that our primary function here is to try to stay alive and safe. We don't want to end up having a disaster like we have in so many of our recent worlds. And I don't know how much or what of anything we have going on around ourselves here. I think that's kind of going to be where our staircase will pop out. Um, we want to be careful of high ceilings like that. It's down to the old ravine danger that we always have to try to respect. Um, and we're trying not to be too reckless in this one. Wow, just massive. It's gonna be a lot like the last world where we spent so much time trying to uh, get squared away in that ravine, and then shortly thereafter, we're just right back into trouble again. Um, and here, unfortunately, we're doing all this when we're less well equipped. Um, than we might otherwise. There's an amethyst way up there. See it up there? That's problematic. What's this? Yeesh. All this is fairly perilous. Now, this was the hole we came down, so we've come around full circle there. is for us. Why all this seems quite so dark. Now, is this the rest of the way down in our area that we sealed off? Looks like it. Oh yeah, and we jumped from here to there. Okay, well, until we can... Let's... Oh, alright. Little better down at this end. Yeah, lots of missed opportunity to kill creepers there, but willing to forego that opportunity because having a couple of them like that without a clear spot where we can kind of back up and give them good knocks with our sword. right. Well, scary as it is, I think maybe doing an okay job here. Hate to even breathe that. It's so likely to come on, get up there. So likely to come back and bite us. If we start thinking we're all that, but once again, in spite of everything, I think if we can kind of manage some of those ledges as a last step, think anything higher we're not in too much danger from because those mobs would be too high to really notice us, right? And anything down below, I think we've got decently covered at least. And again, this is all prep just to get our staircase. We don't want to have steps going back up into the base and, open up a space down at the bottom that's on stuff like this where we still have a bunch of mobs spawning. So kind of try to clean that up. The other thing I want to do is get that lava out of here. Normally I like to leave the lava falls and even just like create a little bit of a contained little end, but also be kind of nice to bring a dog down here. Brought dogs and lava don't mix very well. They have a good uncanny knack, the dogs do, for finding the lava. Ooh, I don't know if we have enough here. I may have to fall over on that. That even matches. As long as we're up here, can always use the coal. As well as something down there, maybe. Guess that's where we really need the torch. More than where we're walking around. Alright, well, that's still going well. Now that's where we ended up. Do a little a sky bridge or something. And then we have another cave here. Let's go down into this one because frankly, we need the stone to keep working on ledges if we're going to use that. This can't be too terribly big because we've already wrapped both sides around it. Alright, that's our torches done. I think this is our way back. Again, priority being stay alive. Job one. Don't need to push it. Don't need to gather stuff on the way back. Just come back, get more torches. We should now have loads of coal to make a full another batch. Maybe sleep, hearing those zombies. That means I get a sip of my coffee. Good stuff. A few more arrows. Do need more sticks. We're going to have to go for more trees as well, but if possible, I would like to get the stairs kind of down and done first, and then come back up for more trees. Sticks away here. Alright. Yep, you guys are all loud, good dogs. This always helps to re-equip a pick, shovel. Oh, and okay, we are still lined up there. I know we made that effort, but I think what that effort partly showed is that we're not as near down as I kind of thought we were. We were bounding around there and seeing mobs and looking down on the lava lakes and stuff, but I think we still have a little bit of work to do to get down fully into those levels. Rather than trapping ourselves, there, and there, I believe this will give us our access down to the ravine until we get it knocked out of the basement, all just a big part of one big area. For more yet, but we can combine these two. Get a little more pick. Alright, let's take a look. 26, yeah, like I said. Long way to go. we know there's a cave. Right? We poked our head into it and know that hole is kind of ahead of us. So just a matter of when, and that was where we'd heard that skeleton running around. I guess one thing I keep kind of thinking about is maybe we should switch out that gold uh, armor pants, even though it has fire prot on it, for iron. But I don't know. I think there's kind of something to be said for using what we got. I don't think it changes our armor that much. Hopefully, we'll be um, finding diamonds at some point here that we can use to and just naturally replace those. We'll see. I mean, the biggest difference with the gold is they're going to wear down faster, but you can see we've kind of been playing a little safe, not just running headlong into creepers and stuff like that. I mean, you might call it playing safe. You might call it not just being stupid. We've done a little bit of that, but let's see what we can get done here. Alright, here's some of the area we knew we were coming into. We may be overlooking from... Oh, let's get these torches up. Oh man, I don't want to do the dirt again. So there's that. We said in the last episode, I'd rather have cobble than just straight up dirt walls. Eventually, we'll pretty up a staircase as we run up and down it a whole lot. But first things first, let's make sure we are safe and down. Then we can look into more of that kind of stuff. All right, now, oh, there. Okay, so that was the hole. That's the ravine. That's the cave that or where we connected back up with it. So obviously our other stairs there wrap kind of around into that corner, and then the hole that we connected to way up above that drops down over there. All right, back into lighting and potential combat mode here. Oh man, don't be all big. I mean, I guess kind of be big because this clears it as our basement, so actually a little nice to have. Some caves, I mean, that's all ceiling stuff we don't have to carve out. Just costs us a few more torches. Let's leave that. We'll get back on a lot of these eventually. Ooh. Man, there's that even with a bat present. The bats are always a little prone to getting in the way. Not this time, though. Alrighty then. So that's a pretty good job of lighting through this area. We've got, here's a hole. And this was the bottom of the hole that we saw going all the way down with the lava fall that we blocked. Alrighty. Bit more there. That may be our ultimate destination. I think for now, at least, we'll just kind of keep this wide open. I think we're at about like level 20 maybe? 17, so 6 more down. Which should mean that we don't need to worry about the stepped ceiling anymore once we're down there. So we'd only come up to 5, maybe 6 tops. And that part, although I think we will work a little bit more on basement this time, the elevated ceilings bits will still hold off until we've got. That worked out. Oop, oh, that worked out pretty well, height-wise. Keep the ceiling work above 3 high until we have diamond. $13. Our first deep slate. Very proud moment. Alright, there we have it. Down and into the heart of deep slate. But we should connect those two together in fairly short order, but I know we're early here, but I just want to get a time reference. 29 minutes, and it's bottom of the hour right now, so I've got a pretty good idea of when we need to finish up now. So let's run around in this area and get the goodies out. Gonna continue to kind of drop torches here wherever it occurs to me. Hold on to that for now. I think we just had the copper and that piece of gold down at the lava lake on this side. Oh, maybe the deep slate with a lapis too. All that. Let's leave that gold. I want the gold badly, but I don't know that it has a real strong place in terms of, yeah, let's start messing with that lava lake just to get it. I thought that had an edge of iron to it. Okay. Now, is there anything else up this way? Nope. Alright, then what all did we leave over in the ravine? Hopefully not as dangerous as it once was. Copper up here, not the most exciting, but now that we're into cleanup, we'll go ahead and grab it. Oh, we never did quite finish that up yet, did we? I hear footsteps somewhere. Where you at, little Mr. Zombie? Is that a hole? That is a hole. Ooh, I never saw that the last time around. Back up just a second. Oh, you couldn't get through there? Oh, I'm sorry. Alright, that definitely helps. Oh. Ooh, another one I missed. It's like a whole nother side canyon. It's funny, I suspect none of this sound is carrying through, but earlier there was a car that went by with like a revving engine, kind of, it's fairly early on Sunday, afternoon, but early, very early afternoon. And heard kind of, this engine, somebody cruising or zipping along or whatever out for a drive, but sounded very hefty. Now I hear a siren going by. You just always kind of wonder, like, oh, I hope that wasn't related. So Creeper maybe was down below. As you all may be familiar, I am not a big fan of the exploring ravines from below. Usually doesn't. Oh, what? Doesn't work out real well. It's highly suspicious. Here, we'll give you one sand block step to get up. mushrooms. I just watched the Netflix latest documentary thing on fungi, and uh, kind of mixed impressions of it. I think very cool. And, a lot of the stuff I was aware of. I don't think there was anything too terribly cutting edge that I wasn't aware of at all. I've certainly been aware, some of the testing and stuff that they've done with mushrooms. Um, Living as I do here in Colorado, and I'm not saying this is an awesome idea. I don't know that I'm 100% on board with it, but um, on the heels of having legalized recreational marijuana in the state of Colorado, the city of Denver legalized, and I don't know 100% what all the ramifications are. It's less just a topic of conversation around, but is it psilocybin or whatever it is? The chemical constituent or the psychedelic psychotropic compound in mushrooms, or the hallucinogenic mushrooms, psilocybin maybe. That gets a little more news out here, and so there's been more talk of the medical studies and the effects for treating a lot of different um, mental conditions or whatever. Lots of looking at addiction treatment. But then, the old standbys of the recreational medical marijuana argument, anxiety and depression and some of those kind of things, where it's people that back when marijuana was legal for medicinal use only, the two most common or epidemic level conditions, at least around here, were back pain and depression, right? Because everybody was running to a doctor that they knew would subscribe and saying, "Oh yeah, I got a backache," or I have anxiety," and I say that kind of jaded. Look, I have no issue. I was certainly um, pro legalization of it. I am not a consumer at this point in my life of any of that stuff, really. I mean, I go to concerts and stuff here, so I probably get a bit of THC in my system on a semi-regular basis, which frankly you could probably do just walking down the street in some places in Colorado. It's you know that pervasive, but you also reach a point in your life where you're like, I I'm okay with who I am. I don't need to impress anybody. I don't need to have this as a cause, and I don't have anxiety or uh, mental anguish or anything else. Stress is a normal part of life. I can cope with it. That kind of stuff. You just the reasons for doing anything. I don't drink as much as I used to when I was a kid. Kid, I say that. 20 in my 20s. You just kind of get more comfortable with who you are. You don't. I still enjoy a good drink. I still um, have wine or some beer or something every once in a while. But I don't do the whole, hey, I'm just going out to get sloshed with everybody else, like, oh, this is the big deal. Like I said, the other night, whenever it was, Friday, when I was going out with some friends, we try to be responsible. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some drinks for dinner and all that. Let's not have anybody drive. Let's just go get share an Uber and be responsible. So all that kind of stuff. But don't get me wrong, I'm all about having personal liberty and allowing people, if you want to get high and smoke weed or whatever, go for it. Less cool with recreational mushrooms. And full disclosure, when I was a kid, then it was college age, that kind of stuff. I've had some fun with some mushrooms along the way. Um, Different from just smoking a bunch of reefer or a bit of reefer or anything like that. So um, I am less okay with that being touted or thrown out to the public because it does get grouped. It's like, oh, we're already doing it with marijuana, so why wouldn't we do it with mushrooms too? And I think the video that I watched on Netflix did a decent job of laying out that this is, these are not just party things. They're not the incarnation of all that's evil and awful either, as they were somewhat portrayed to be in the '60s. And I think the documentary did a decent, fairly obviously biased, but did a decent job of addressing some of the association to the counterculture and the fact that the military and oh man, I don't have torches. Um, the government, the medical community, kind of had that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, these are really bad because they didn't like um, the fact that Timothy Leary and some of the other um, leaders of the counterculture jumped into this cartoonized version of magic mushrooms, and that was the part that I really had an issue with in the video is all their people that are talking about good science and those kind of things of mycology, the study of mushrooms. um, they they can't get out of their own way for they're so much of that hippie type culture is just all tied into it that it gets um, very conflated and I think really discredits a lot of really good science and very fascinating stuff about mushrooms and fungi in general that I wish that documentary had not fallen on the crutch of, oh yeah, let's talk about the hallucinogenic stuff. And I guess if you're trying to be all encompassing with the subject matter, then there's some of that that just has to be done. And in terms of the medicinal um, angle and what's currently going on now that mushrooms are once again being federally approved for medicinal testing at the FDA level, you have to talk about it, right? And that's a big part of what's there, and a big part of what people should understand is that yeah, things like penicillin, and a lot of our traditional Western medicine have actually come from fungus-based derivatives. That's um, a big part of where Western medicine, the whole, um, oh, excuse me, smallpox and chickenpox and all the rest of the vaccines, not to mention penicillin and amoxicillin and all those that are grown out of molds and how that came. Fascinating stuff, and it just it at times it felt like it was swinging back and forth, and it was trying to pander to a bunch of people that they thought would probably want to do exactly what they're talking about not doing in the video, which is just recreationally messing around with mushrooms, but then they artistically make it all about that. So I don't like that mixing of messages necessarily. That was kind of my own reaction, is that it got a bit pandery, but cool visual effects. And I've always, as a fan of nature in general, I've always thought fungus and the idea mycelium that we should all be familiar with here in Minecraft, and how that plays this symbiotic relationship with the largest living organisms on Earth, the oak stands that cover these mountaintops, and they're all a single, effectively organism, all interconnected, and that was some of the stuff that I really wasn't as familiar with, is the sharing of carbon and nutrients across the mycelium network. Very cool stuff. So recommended, but just understand it's kind of over hippieized, and I, I I guess I get that a lot of the um, agribusiness side of that comes out of a bunch of people that were trying to grow their own magic mushrooms along the way, and now those people are the ones that, as as there's more and more alternative uses and things could go. But it was cool, man. These same people that are one step removed from from growing the traditional magic mushrooms for college kids and all that, are researching non-chemical pesticides and things that will identifying and then using fungi to treat termites and carpenter ants and things like that are destructive pests, and how that it works a lot the same way as some of the very good chemical fertilizers, in the sense that some of them get infected and then go back to the nest and return whatever the lethal agent is, and then spread that to the rest of the colony. So very, 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 very cool stuff, and the idea of using some of that to help bees with colony collapse disorder. Very cool stuff. So I'd say watch it. Just understand that there's a lot of extra emphasis put on the people that at the beginning were not quite as altruistic as they're saying. That in a hippie sense, they were, oh, we're going to change the world and all that, but there's been 40, 50 years now of coming back around and bringing the science to what at the time was very idealistic, kind of pie in the sky, dreamy. Oh yeah, it's going to be so great. It's all going to do this, and um, it's fine. It's good to be idealistic and want. If you can't imagine a better world, you can't make it. So I think that part's very cool. But yeah, it was interesting. So watch that. The other, on the opposite end of the spectrum, last night I watched the latest offering from the old Top Gear cruise, and this is now branded through Amazon as the Grand Tour. So Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, the old British Top Gear hosts or presenters, as they call themselves, um, have done these standalone specials now, and they had done one in the midst of the pandemic in Scotland because travel was limited and they couldn't go as far afield to track things down. I'm trying to think where we want to go next. I think we pushed that ravine back a little bit, so let's come back down here. This should be 11. It is 11. Let's start the basement work here. Should be very familiar to some of you guys that are returning. And then once we kind of get going here, I'll revert and talk about Lochdown, like the Scottish Loch, Loch, the lakes in Scotland. Was kind of their play on word, as they were filming this in the height of the pandemic, but lighthearted. I recommend their stuff too for most everything, and staged and contrived as some of it often feels, it uh, still had me full on laughing at times. So definitely would recommend that in a very different sense. It didn't make me rethink anything in my life or around the world or anything like that. It's just people running around with cars and making you laugh. But sometimes you need that. So that was actually what I ended up doing last night. I kind of thought I would come back to more Minecraft, and the rain started. Ooh, I almost did it. Um, and instead, I saw that was coming up because I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna eat dinner and just find something to watch. And I pulled up Prime because, as I think I've said in past videos, I've kind of been watching old Top Gears recently, and I knew that they'd filmed stuff in the midst of the pandemic, but I didn't know any kind of timeline to release or anything like that. And then there I am looking for something to turn on during dinner, and it's like, oh, there's a new the new special is out. I'm gonna watch that, but to kind of maximize it before I did, I watched the other two standalone specials that they released maybe 19 or early 20. One in Cambodia and Vietnam on boats going eventually into the Mekong River and then out into the South China Sea. Um, it's kind of a cool one. And then they did another where they were allegedly searching for pirate treasure in a couple different places. Reunion Island, um, and then Madagascar. And that one, for the living in the mountains as I do, the off-roading stuff has always been the most appealing of some of their content. Um, and for that, some of the roads that they went along in Madagascar, excuse me, very challenging looking and entertaining, and made for some good content and entertainment. The premise there felt a little contrived, but again, it's they're laughing at themselves as they're doing it. It's not supposed to fool anybody, and this was kind of a mix. Obviously it was making the best of a tough year, tough situation, but they did it and did it very well. Traveling up and around and across Scotland with classic American cars. They had both cruisers of the kind of 70s, 80s, and then for a bit they had some muscle cars. So all very good stuff and some unexpected laughs that, again, I think they worked hard to set up, but were hilarious nonetheless. So that had another. I can't wait for the next, whatever the next installment may be. Those are always good things. And as I've said before, I hope those guys continue. They've kind of all done their own project work as well, and I've been a big fan of all of those too. The first that I discovered. Wow, here you go. As you can probably tell, I'm still not 100%. I do want to keep making good progress. Oh, and we're almost out of time here. Richard Hammond with the MythBusters dude. I don't remember his name. On kind of a desert island staged again. Don't take it too seriously. That like, oh, we got to build a shelter, and look, this boat washed up, and then they've got a bunch of stuff that they can all use to build little contraptions with. So that was entertaining. James May had a couple, a cooking show and then a travel show in Japan that either was older and I hadn't seen it or coincided. Both those were pretty good. And then most recently, I'd watched Jeremy Clarkson's Farm, which I think had come out very early in the summer, or late spring, but I hadn't seen it until just now. So that those two were back on the air. So now I think I've got a little wait before any new content. But big fan. You should go check those out if cars and just comedy kind of stuff gets you. I think that's very good entertainment. All right, lots of deep slate there, more than we probably wanted. Let's get the rest. Had I already loaded up? I guess I did. Okay. We're not gonna do much without that. Oh, dogs. Dogs, 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 dogs. Load this up. Top these off. We may have to make dog houses in this one. That's a lot of barking. Let's run real fast and go take a snapshot of the ravine or something, just so we have a thing to share in our thumbnail. By eliminating the lava, unfortunately, I don't make these quite as good for snapshots. They get a little dark. It's very zoomy. Oh, don't you. That's kind of good. Different. It's artistic, all right? That's how you get away with any of it. No, it's my artistic impression. Okay, now how do I get which way did I come in here? We gotta go back. We'll get some stairs on these eventually for faster access up and down. And that will be just a hair over, but not too much. So as we're climbing these stairs, let's go ahead and remind you guys how much I appreciate you coming by for the views. If you are enjoying, won't you please consider hitting that like button, or more to my fun, say hi in the comments. Let me know who you are and if you're enjoying the content, if you have any recommendations for things to do or projects to work on in these worlds. Next up, we'll probably head back overland or above ground and get more wood because we're completely out of trees. Maybe do some more exploration and see what else we have around and about us in this area, because we've kind of positioned but haven't gone from there. Speaking of which, I know I keep finding more stuff. I don't think we've ever actually jotted down these coordinates of our base, and I keep talking about it. Very interesting that we got so far back to near zero on the base coordinates, or the base. Base. I think I wrote dace. 34 and 285. Go in and fix the typo. All right, I know that wasn't particularly exciting for you guys, but we're wrapping up anyway. This is bonus time. You guys probably all dropped out in an hour. It was too much time. But anyway, as always, I want to let you guys know how much I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Please consider coming back for next time if you want to know when the next video may be. Think about hitting the subscribe button so all my new videos show up in your feed. Until that next time, stay awesome. Go ahead and take a break. I'm going to as well, and we'll catch you back here for the next episode. Bye now. Oh, I never did the thank you, did I? There it is. All right, see you guys.